Hello. So in October of 2003, my then husband and I moved into a home that we bought in the historic Mill Hill section of Trenton. Now, that house was originally built in the late 1800s, and it had only had one big rehab that was done in the 1980s. So naturally, there was renovation that we needed to do before we could move in. But fortunately, my then husband was skilled in all the trades, so we were able to get it all done for a fraction of what it normally would have cost. And my part was moral support, um, keep track of the budget for purchasing materials, and going along for moral support when the materials were being purchased at Home Depot. So that was it. These hands never spackled, they never painted, they never did any of those things. So, some 14 years later, when I decided that I could no longer stay in the marriage, my first priority was to find a new home for me, my sister, and my mom to live. And my first requirement was that it needed to be a newish home because I had zero renovation skills. And I wanted it to be in the same area because my two other sisters were still living next door to the house that I had shared with my then husband. So I reached out to a friend who was a realtor, told him what I was looking for. He said, I have just the house for you. So he takes me to see it, and it is on my favorite block in that area. And the house was one of a series of new townhouses that were built in 2004. And when they were being built, I would look at them longingly and say, wow, I would love to live in one of those houses. But knowing that it wasn't possible given my situation at the time. So he shows me the house. It's 3 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, tall ceilings. It's perfect for, my mom and my sister and I. So I closed on the property in April of 2018. And the only thing that I had done before we moved in May was to have the carpets taken up and have wood flooring down. Now, there was this uglyish tan paint on the walls, but I decided, you know what, I'll get that done. Eventually, I'll hire someone to come in and do it. Flash forward to the beginning of 2020, I decided, you know what, yeah, it's about time. I'm sick of it. I need to find someone to do it. And we all know what happened in March of 2020, so there was no contracting anyone to get it in. And I decided, you know what, if I have to be shut in, I might as well make good use of this time. I think I'm going to go ahead and do all of this painting myself. So, yeah. Ambitious. So I roll up my sleeves, go buy the paint, I select everything, and I took my time and I painted the living room, the kitchen, the dining room, and all of the connecting shared hallways. And I got all that done. Then I started looking at the cabinets. I didn't really like those either. Now, they were new, they were brand new, they were strong and in good condition, so taking them down was not within the realm of possibility. And I talked to my older sister, and she said, you could paint those. And I was like, you think so? And she's like, yeah, you can absolutely do that. So I followed her advice. I got the paint, I picked this really rich blue color, took all the hinges off, took everything down, took my time, painted it all, and it actually looked really, really good. And I was like, wow, I can do some of this stuff. So then I turned my attention to the area between the cabinets and the sink, and I said, a really nice backsplash would go good there. Like that's what that needs. So then I talked to my younger sister, and I said, what do you think? Do you know someone that I can get and they'll just come in and do it for me? And she says, because this is how she is, you can totally do that yourself. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I did. I went, I selected the tiles, selected the accents, I bought the glue, the grout, and did the whole thing. Took my time and did it, and it looked great. Then I said, you know what? I need some accent tables and I need some bookshelves, all of which had to be assembled. Put them all together, got new curtains, hung curtain rods, put artwork on the wall. And when it was all said and done, I had transformed a space that I liked into a space that I absolutely loved. I managed to really, truly make this place my own. And at the end of the day, all it took was a little bit of time, the encouragement from my sisters, and some good old fashioned elbow grease. Thank you.